There's been a bit of coverage lately on the movie that's being made, a film adaptation of Frank Herbert's Dune. Of course, we had the first version of this adaptation made in the 1980s, and then the Sci-Fi Channel made another one, I think, in the early 2000s, if I remember correctly. But now we're having another feature film, another attempt at bringing this wonderful book to the big screen. So far, some of the first images that have been released of the two main characters, Paul Atreides and Chani, are very intriguing. Looking forward to seeing the movie. Dune is one of my favorite books of all time. It ranks right up there with The Lord of the Rings for me. If you haven't read Dune, it's this mixture of science fiction, politics, religion, intrigue, mystery. It's really a masterful work, and not only a good story, but a good commentary, and has some interesting lessons for us as well. Fairly early on in the book, when Paul and his mother Jessica are in some trouble, I don't want to give away much if you're not familiar with the story, but they find themselves basically out in the middle of a desert, and they're running from the people who are chasing them, of course. And Paul recalls part of his training growing up as a young man. He grew up as the heir to a duke, the Duke Leto Atreides, and he had various forms of training to get him ready for the life that he was about to live. And one of the things that he's remembering during this chase, I think really has always struck a nerve with me. And he starts chanting this training that he's had, this maxim that he is trying to live his life by. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Fear is the mind killer. Now, in the context of the story, it means something different, and it might sound kind of strange to our ears and in terms of who we are. You know, we're not some spacefaring civilization that is steeped in mysticism and intrigue. But fear is the mind killer. I think that's something that we need to keep in mind. So many things are happening today that really do bring a lot of fear into our lives. That we become afraid. We're not sure what's going to happen next. And I think if we're not careful, that fear can be a dangerous thing. Do we need to be vigilant? Yes, of course. We need to be vigilant. We need to do what we're supposed to. We need to lead good lives. But we cannot let fear take control of our lives. I can't help but think of today's gospel reading. It talks about, it's the gospel reading of the feeding of the 5,000. Of course, Jesus is on this mountain. and he's speaking with his disciples. They're all wondering, Lord, how are we going to feed all these people? There's no way this is going to happen. And of course, if you're familiar with the story from Scripture, Jesus does feed them through a miracle. A few loaves and a fish are turned into something much, much more. He blesses them, and they're distributed, and it's not some sort of act of sharing or anything like that, like some people today would have you believe, but rather it's a true miracle of multiplying the loaves and the fishes. But just imagine that scene for a moment. All those 5,000 people, they're wondering how they're going to be fed. And what does he say to them? He says, recline. In other words, relax. Be at peace. I've got this. I'm going to take care of it. My people are going to be fed. Okay, those aren't his exact words right there, but he does tell them to recline. And I think to try to encourage them to trust in him. In other words, in a roundabout way, he's passing on that maxim that we hear from Frank Herbert's Dune. Fear is the mind killer. And so we shouldn't let fear take a hold of our lives. And as we look forward to this Easter season, no matter what happens in our lives, no matter what we face, we live the best life we can, and we don't let fear take control, because Jesus Christ has got all of this. We have no need to worry. There may be 5,000 people on the hill. We may have 5,000 worries. But there's no need for us to worry. And so, my friends, remember that in these uncertain times, we can place our trust in something much greater, much better, much more enduring than anything that this world has to offer. Fear is the mind killer, or rather, in the words of Christ, recline, relax, be at peace, and know that he will take care of all of this. God bless you, my friends. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Please do continue to pray for me as I continue to pray for you. And Lord willing, we will see each other soon. God bless you and take care.